Hello, this is our presentation on Samsung Electronics. Today I am with Kayla, Brandon, and Adriana. Samsung Electronics is one of the most influential companies in the global consumer electronics industry. While many people recognize Samsung's primarily for smartphones and other devices like tablets and TVs, the company's operations extend far beyond the mobile technology sectors and into semiconductors, home appliances, display manufacturing, and other smart technologies. Because technology companies increasingly shape how people communicate, work, um, and interact with their devices daily, analyzing Samsung provides us insight into large global firms and maintain the innovation and the competitiveness over time. Throughout this presentation, we're going to examine Samsung, their business structure, the ecosystem, the strategy, and the overall position within the technology industry. So one of Samsung's strongest strategic advantages in the ecosystem includes the wearables, the smart home features, entertainment, appliances, the connection services, and the other services and apps that they provide. A technology ecosystem refers to a network of the connected devices and services designated to work seamlessly together to improve the overall experience for the users. Samsung offers a wide array, as I mentioned before. And instead of selling individual products, companies aim to create an interconnected environment that encourages the long-term customer loyalty. For example, Samsung smartphones. They can connect with the watches, the earbuds, even the thermostats and the lights and cameras, the TVs, and even the fridge. They can also control the home devices remotely and synchronize the information across the platforms regardless of what device you are on. This integration benefits Samsung because customers who invest in multiple of Samsung's products are more likely to remain with the brand rather than switching over to competitors like Apple. Now, before we get into the overall presentation, I wanted to lay out a little bit of a table of contents just so you know what we are going to outline and get into in this presentation. We're going to begin with an industry and a company overview. This is just going to discuss Samsung's background and the company history and the scale of the decisions that they make. Next, we will move into the global strategy. The global strategy is going to mention what our target market, which I mentioned was India, and how Samsung can implement their products into this developing country. We will then move into the competition. The competition in the smart device industry is prominent today just because a lot of the companies are developing more smart devices and innovating on those. Competition includes Apple and Sony. We will then move into the COVID-19 and the financial aspects. We noticed that COVID-19 took quite a toll on Samsung in more positive ways than negative. And along with other pandemics, the financials are also going to be mentioned and how they can implement that into the developing country. The strategy framework, we will move into that and discuss how they can implement it into India. And we will finally wrap up with the conclusions and the recommendation on how Samsung will be able to implement their products. And here is our industry and our company overview. Samsung is in the consumer electronics industry. It was founded in 1938 in South Korea and was originally operated as a trading company before it expanded into electronics. Over several decades, the company was transformed into a global technology leader, and it is known through almost all countries in the world. It is very diverse and undergoes continuous innovation. Today, Samsung produces a very wide range of products, including the smartphones, the televisions, home appliances, semiconductors, and other displays. This diversification is significant because it allows the company to generate revenue from many different industries rather than just relying on a single product like the phone. Samsung also maintains a very strong global presence, operating in markets across North America, Europe, and Asia. This international market allows Samsung to reach and respond to the changing consumer demand and maintain a very large market share worldwide. As a result, Samsung consistently competes with technology companies, mainly Apple, particularly in smartphones and consumer electronics. It is very important to analyze all of these changes within the industry. Um, we are currently at the mature life stage, adoption of many products worldwide, um, and it is driven by AI and the 5G networks. A few competitors, as mentioned previously, Apple and Sony, they compete on innovation, pricing, and the integrated products.
Samsung uses transnational strategy, meaning the company balances global efficiency with local market adaptation. They standardize a lot of their technology worldwide while adjusting pricing, marketing, and certain products based on regional consumer needs. Some of Samsung's main strategic goals are expanding in emerging markets like India and Southeast Asia, maintaining leadership in AI, semiconductors, and 5G technology, as well as strengthening their ecosystem across devices and services. Samsung also focuses heavily on innovation and supply chain efficiency, especially after global disruptions like COVID-19 and chip shortages. Overall, this strategy helps Samsung stay competitive while responding to different consumer preferences around the world. Samsung competes with major global companies like Apple, Sony, and Xiaomi. Apple is one of Samsung's biggest competitors because of its strong brand loyalty and premium ecosystem. Sony competes more in entertainment and electronics, especially with products like PlayStation and high quality TVs. Xiaomi is popular in developing markets because of its affordable pricing, but one of Samsung's biggest advantages is its wide variety of products. The company sells everything from smartphones to TVs to appliances and smart devices, allowing them to compete across multiple market segments. Samsung also stays competitive through consistent innovation, strong global recognition, and offering both premium and budget friendly options for consumers.
Great. Now I'm going to discuss Samsung's financial performance and how the company responded to the COVID-19 pandemic. As we all know, the COVID-19 pandemic took a huge economic toll, not just on large companies like Samsung, but on all companies, right? Now I'm going to take a dive into the major areas in which Samsung generated revenue, including smartphones, consumer electronics, appliances, and even semiconductor products. Because the company operates across multiple product categories, Samsung is able to maintain a diversified source of income rather than relying on just one market segment, right? This diversification helps the company remain financially stable even during periods of economic uncertainty, just like COVID 19. And we take a look at another major factor contributing to Samsung's financial success, such as which is the pricing strategy. Samsung was able to effectively leverage the pricing strategy where they were able to offer both premium and budget friendly products, allowing the company to appeal to a wide range of consumers, which is great for somewhere like India, right? And we get a good look at this from premium products like the Galaxy Z Fold and high-end smart TVs that target consumers that are looking for that advanced technology and kind of that leading edge, right, in innovation. And then we take a look at the Galaxy A series and other affordable products, which appeal to more the price sensitive consumers in emerging markets just like India. This is a broad pricing strategy which allows Samsung to compete against multiple competitors across different market segments. Samsung also heavily invests into the research and development, which is known as R&D, which helps the company continue innovating and maintaining that competitive advantage in the technology industry. As AI continues to develop and kind of take over society, Samsung is there to leverage that with major investments in AI, the semiconductor technology that I mentioned, that 5G connectivity, and of course the smart home integration, which continues to support long-term growth and profitability. However, we take a step into the risk, where Samsung still faces several financial risks. One major challenge involved the supply chain disruptions, since the company depends on global manufacturing and shipping networks. Um, the currency and fluctuations and international trade tension can also impact profitability and production costs. We saw this pretty heavily during the COVID-19 pandemic. During the pandemic in 2020, Samsung experienced things such as factory shutdowns, shipping delays, and supply chain disruptions that affected production, not just in one area, but globally. And like many other global companies that I mentioned, Samsung initially faced operational difficulties because manufacturing facilities and transportation systems were hugely impacted. At the same time, consumer demand for technology products actually increased during the pandemic. So we saw this as a big plus and a way for Samsung to continue to leverage things during a bad time, right? We saw remote work and remote learning take a huge step forward and a huge step towards innovation, right? In which Samsung was also able to take advantage. So remote work, online learning, and digital communication became more common, and demand grew for smartphones, laptops, tablets, and televisions, and other technology products that became a necessity during these times. Consumers relied more heavily on technology for both work and personal communication, which created new opportunities for Samsung despite these challenges. Samsung had responded quickly by adapting its business strategy. The company expanded online sales channels to reach consumers more effectively during lockdowns and reduced in-person shopping. Samsung also diversified suppliers to reduce dependence on a single manufacturing source and improving supply chain resilience. Additionally, the company increased focus on product design for remote work and home entertainment, which matched the changing consumer and
Now I'll discuss the financial performance of Samsung Electronics and how the company responded during COVID-19. Samsung generates revenue through several major business segments, including smartphones, consumer electronics, and semiconductor products. One of Samsung's financial strengths is its ability to serve both premium and budget conscious consumers through flexible pricing strategies. In addition, the company continues to invest heavily in research and development, which supports long term innovation and profitability. However, Samsung also faces financial risks such as supply chain disruptions, currency fluctuations, and global trade tensions. These challenges became especially noticeable during COVID-19 pandemic in 2020, when factory operations and global networks were disrupted. Despite these obstacles, consumer demand for technology increased as more people worked and studied from home. Samsung adopted by expanding its online sales channels, diversifying suppliers, and focusing on products that support remote and home connectivity. For our strategy framework, we focus on Samsung's expansion into India as a key growth opportunity. India represents an attractive emerging market because of its rapidly growing middle class and increasing demand for affordable consumer electronics. Samsung has responded by using a localized strategy instead of offering identical products everywhere. The company adapts pricing, product features, and marketing to meet the needs of price sensitive consumers in the market. For example, Samsung offers both budget friendly and premium devices while emphasizing features that are especially important to Indian consumers, such as long battery life, reliability, affordability, and language accessibility. For example, Samsung offers both budget friendly and premium devices. The company also strengthens its market position through partnership with retailers and telecommunication providers while providing local manufacturing operations. This helps reduce product costs, improve distribution efficiency, and lower import taxes. By combining market expansion
With local adaptation, Samsung creates a sustainable competitive advantage and positions itself for long term growth in emerging markets.